Alright, I just want to show you guys this little video here. Putting the spacers into the sidewall. You know, sometimes it's a really tight fit, sometimes it gets in. There's a couple of tricks. One is you can just take the axle and sort of work it around to try to get it to go in straight. And you know, there's just a little bit of difference in the tolerance between the spacer and the hole sometimes, and you know, it varies from spacer to spacer and from hole to hole that comes off of the tooling equipment and the chassis. So it just sort of depends on what your luck is you know, how it comes out and which ones go in real easy or which ones take a little more effort. So, you know, sometimes you'll get one that will just kind of go in nicely, you know, just push on the end here, wiggle it around. And others you may get a little bit more fuss from them, and maybe you can't quite get them all the way in, right? So there's a pretty easy way to take care of this. Should work for, you know, any frame out there on the market that you might have this issue with too. So take your wheel, got bearings in it. You can use the other side of the axle, or you can use, you know, one of the UFS mounts. Either one of these will work. And basically what we're going to do is use these to do just a little bit of a press fit. So you got to have wheel with both bearings and the spacer in it. And then what I like to do is I like to first, so I'll take this part of the fastener, I'll put it in here on this side, put the axle through the wheel, and you'll see we have a little bit of room here. Then we can actually come in here and start to thread the axle onto the fastener on this side. So again, you can use the other end of the axle bolt, or you can use this. You just take an Allen wrench, put it through this side. You may or may not need one on the other side of the wheel. Sometimes you need it just to make sure you hold the axle in place. If it's not quite going in, you know, super easy, just spin the fastener to the left, then spin it to the right. It should go through pretty easy. And then when you get here, you may need an Allen wrench for the other side, and then you just can basically tighten this up, and it'll just easily push the spacer into the side of the frame. There you go. Now the spacer is fully set. You don't have to torque it down super hard. Just get it pretty snug, and then you can do the next one. Now, one of the things that's important to remember is that you really need to get the axle itself to come through the spacer, even when you have it in the wheel, and that'll help align it. So if you have an issue where you're trying to tighten this down and it just doesn't feel like it's moving anywhere, you know, just give yourself a couple of turns to the left with the Allen wrench. And that'll help make sure that everything's lined up. So this looks like it's lined up pretty well. Looks like this one's not going to be a really big issue at all. Try to do this one without the other Allen wrench. So sometimes you can get it. I guess it depends on if you have really good bearings in the wheel or not. So we just tighten that up, and then it just fits it right there. And then now everything's set. Sometimes it's easiest just to start with taking the fastener, put the spacer through it. You can hold this in place here to start with. Put the Allen wrench in here. And that way you have something that's kind of easier to hold it in place. If you do this way, you might end up with a little bit of a bind where the spacer doesn't actually fit around the axle at first. Hopefully that happens here. I'll show you an easy way to take care of that. If that happens where it's bound up, meaning the fastener is kind of smashing the spacer between the top of the axle and the fastener itself, just give it a little bit of a turn to the left and then bring it back into the right, and maybe you have to do that 1 or 2 times, and then that should get it centered about the axle itself, and then you can just tighten it down and we'll put it into place. It shouldn't take that much effort to get these in when you're using this method. So if you think it's really taking a lot of effort to turn the Allen key and press this in, then just back it off a little bit and you know, give it another shot, start over. Nothing really bad will happen, but you know, we just want to prevent the end of the female axle from getting, you know, galled or anything like that. Just keep it smooth. So this one feels like it's maybe a little tight. I'm just going to back it off, give it a little wiggle, usually wiggles into place, and then we can get it taken care of the rest of the way. So there it is, just a simple little press fit that you can use with all the parts you should have. Hopefully you got an Allen wrench, some bearings, and a wheel. Should work for any frame you come across that may have any kind of issue pushing the spacers in.